Or I'm here. I guess that's my intro now. Oh well, fuck it. So, a few thoughts on how people pleasing can practically kill your sense of self psychologically. Of course, everything I talk about, I can only talk about my own experiences. Hoping it helps someone somewhere. I have notes today, yet again. So, the way that I grew up, people pleasing was survival, unfortunately. Not a great way to cope. Or a terrible habit to try to unlearn. I've been doing it slowly over the years, but when you're forced to either people please or just be a fucking, what's the word I'm trying to think of? I want to say body bag, but that is not what I'm thinking. Punching bag, Jesus Christ. When those are your only two options, people pleasing seems like the easier one, the more, I almost want to say innocent one, because there's no immediate threat or danger to your person. But the long-term effects of that are kind of detrimental to how you grow up and become a functioning person in society. So, for me, it was having an emotionally unstable parent and kind of having to walk on eggshells around them. And they make it blatantly obvious that if they're unhappy, everyone else should be unhappy too. I can't have a good day, neither can you. I'm gonna make your life hell because I need someone else to feel the way that I'm feeling. Very immature, but also, especially in today's economy, very realistic. I'm sure you've met somebody who has acted in this way, but as a kid, growing up in that, you never really think about it, because if it's all you know, it's normal. Of course you're not going to question it. You're just going to be like, well, this is my life. So, and of course you're not making all these decisions. Like I said, you either are the punching bag or you start to people please. You're not making these decisions consciously. You know, your body's going to kind of do that for you because your brain just wants to keep you safe. And it's going to take it's going to take the route that feels safest. But over time, people pleasing and having to walk on eggshells around someone who's just emotionally volatile, regardless of who it is, it could be a parent, it could be someone that you deal with on a day-to-day basis, you're going to learn over time that your needs aren't important. Oof. Ouch. Because you're always so focused on what are their emotions? What are they going through? Are they having a good day? What can I do to either A, stay out of sight, out of mind, or B, how can I act to make them get in a better mood? And when you learn that and you're so attuned to someone else's emotions as a young kid, it's kind of hard in your later years, if you do this for an extended period of time like I had to, it's hard to recognize what you're feeling in any given moment. I can pinpoint an emotion, but normally it takes me a while to realize what that emotion was. I normally have to think about it and kind of just try to figure out what it was. When people who don't have this experience they know what they're feeling. Because they didn't have to, their mind didn't have to focus on something else other than themselves. That sounded like I'm calling those people selfish. That's not what I mean. I'm trying to explain it the best I know how. But even if you would tell these people what you need, most of the time, people who are emotionally absent or immature or narcissistic, any of those things, they don't really care what your needs are. They will not attempt to accommodate your needs. They might not even listen. They might just flip the script, make it about themselves because they feel like they need to be coddled because they're in an emotional state that they don't want to be in. Tell you an example. I'm an adult. Over 20. Okay? Living with this parent. Again. Because I'd moved out. I have learned, it's been a very slow process and very draining process, but I've learned to be more direct with my communication and tell people exactly what I need. Thanks to my lovely girlfriend who has helped me, taught me these things that I didn't even realize I was doing. And the other day, my parent asked me to... So some things, it might be because I'm not all there, but when someone doesn't directly tell me to do something, my brain takes it as, okay, it's just a suggestion. But she said to me, when you have time, or if you feel like it, sweep the leaves off the floor. Okay. To me, that's not direct communication. To me, that is a suggestion. And of course I took it as that because my brain thinks, okay, well, I don't have time and I'm never gonna feel like doing that because maybe I just take things too literally. I'm not sure. So she brought it up and she said, I asked you to do that like a week ago. And I said, okay. To me, that sounded like a suggestion and I need you to be more direct. If you need me to do something, directly ask me to do it. But that's a problem. She can't. So her reaction was to start making fun of me for it and saying, oh, you never needed that before. Yes, I have. First of all, yes, the fuck I have. But besides the point, then she decided, instead of trying to think and accommodate what I asked her to do, because we live in the house together, you're gonna have to deal with me one way or another. I'm asking you to do this thing, and it's not a huge request. It's not a big ask. It's just be more direct. I didn't say it rude. I didn't get loud. She said I need more direct communication. So she asked me to do something else, but this time she got loud and she got aggressive and she had an attitude about it. If you can't do this one basic thing that someone is asking you to do, no doubt your kid, and you can't do that because you're so focused on yourself being so important, how do you treat people in the world? How do you curate friendships and relationships with that? Because I can't stand being around that. Now, I'm not around it by choice. When you run out of options, you run out of options. But I'm trying to keep it on track. So to kind of go off of that and to end this, I don't want to take up too much of your time. Probably should have said it earlier, but when you're the kid the easy kid, the one who never needs anything, it's going back to that walking on eggshells and focusing more on someone else's emotions and never really dealing with your own, just kind of pushing everything down, you grow up numb, not knowing what your emotions are, not really knowing how not to people please. You gotta unlearn it. You gotta figure out different ways to cope, because once it's a habit, it's ingrained in a lot of how you go about existing in the world, whether it's friendships or relationships, professional, work relationships, whatever you call those. But just some thoughts. Warm out.